Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Michael Peveler. I'm the Vice President of Sales here at AtlasIED, and I'm joined by a couple of friends and coworkers, Mr. Tom Lureman, the Director of Product Management here at AtlasIED, and Mr. Dan Murphy, the Senior VP of Digital Systems. Tom and Dan are going to talk to you a little bit today, but I'm going to start off because we're here to talk about InfoComm. So InfoComm was a couple, 3 weeks ago now in Las Vegas. And if you weren't able to be there, then that's what we're here to talk about today and share some of what went on and talk a little bit about some of the product. I just want to kind of set a scene real quick. So for those of you who weren't able to be there, to kind of get an idea of what went on. So first of all, it was great to have the industry back together. As you can imagine, it's been a couple of years. We had an InfoComm last year and it was pretty small, pretty intimate. This year was about twice, 2-3 times bigger. And as a result, the booths were bigger, and it really felt like a legit InfoComm again. Our booth really had the 3 Bs. It was big, it was bright, and it was really, really busy. We were broken up into different sections throughout the booth. We had crowds throughout the day, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, really. In fact, candidly, last day of the show, we didn't think we'd be as busy as we were, and we stayed really busy until about 2 o'clock, which is great because it makes the time go faster and the feet hurt a little less when you're standing in your booth. So overall, a just really fantastic show. We had meetings with a lot of great resellers and dealers. We got to meet with consultants. We got to meet with end users. We had a really nice contingency of international visitors that went to the show as well. So again, overall, a really outstanding group of folks, an outstanding level of activity and buzz throughout the booth, nice big tours coming through, and kind of working station to station. And so the stations were really broken out by the different solutions we provide. And as a manufacturer, AtlasIED continues to make the push to move to being a complete solution provider. So we still have a lot of parts and a lot of pieces that are available. And so if you're looking for inventory, make sure you check out our website, www.atlasIED.com. But if you're looking for a full audio solution, we're your provider, and make sure you reach out. And the gentlemen that are going to be talking here in a second, they have a lot to do with why we have those full solutions. And keep a close eye on us because there's a lot more coming. The last thing I want to talk about is supply chain and kind of new products. So we were really proud to be able to go to the show and talk about 7 new products. 4 of those products are shipping and available immediately. 3 of those products are going to be available at the beginning of Q4 or early Q4. Now we're not immune to the supply chain challenge that the entire industry and a lot of the world, let's be honest, has struggled with. But we have a phenomenal purchasing team and a great senior leadership team led by John Ivey, who has done really a phenomenal job of making sure that we have product. And I'm proud to say that as of today, we can meet our entire backlog within the next 90 days. So again, if you're looking for product, if you've got a job that's on hold and you're needing some individual part or piece, make sure you log into the website. And if you have a login, you're going to be able to see the available inventory. And if you don't have a login for any reason, just request one through the website. It's really easy, quick and painless, and we can get you logged in. And you'll see your pricing and you'll see the available inventory there. So with that said, let's not delay anymore. Let's talk a little bit about some of the new things that we talked about at the show and some of the things that brought a lot of energy. So we're going to start with Tom Lureman. Tom, how you doing today?
Good, Michael. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, take away. Let's talk about some of the products that you were overseeing and demoing at the show.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. It was a really good InfoComm, a lot busier than expected. And part of the reason is we're showing some really cool systems. One of the systems we're showing was Atmosphere, and this was a product we launched in September of 2020 in the middle of the first part of COVID, and there weren't trade shows. And last October, when we were in Orlando at InfoComm, was our first opportunity to show it to people. And now this is our second showing. It's really a mature platform. And if you're not familiar with this system, it consists of an intelligent DSP platform, amplifiers, and 6 intelligent accessories. And at this show, we were showing for the first time our version 2.5. About every 6 months, we come out with a new major version with some really big feature updates. And 2.5, which is available today as a free update to any Atmosphere system, adds third-party control, loud noise detection, end-user control of tone, bass, and treble, additional controller functionality, the ability to control sources as well as zones, as well as integrated help videos. So right there in the interface, you can go look up help videos that we're allowed to update in the cloud, and they'll show up right on your device. Particularly, third-party control has been a game changer and went over really well at InfoComm. We offer the ability to, within the interface, pull messages for control from any third-party control system. We already have drivers available for Crestron, Extron, and AMX. Alanis has created their own driver, and we have a lot of interest from other control companies to create drivers for Atmosphere coming up here very soon. So again, 2.5 is available now as a little bit of a preview. We have 2.6 coming out next month with some small feature updates, but look forward to even more features being released in versions later this year. Next up is an 8-channel 300-watt amplifier. This is called the HPA 2408. This is a new model addition to our reliable HPA high-power amplifier series. This is a 8-channel, 300 watts per channel. Each output can go into 4 ohms, 8 ohms, 70 volt, or 100 volt direct. This is a really appealing mix of channel count and power per channel, all in a 2U chassis. We have an optional Dante card called the DAC8. This allows 8 channels of Dante networked audio to be sent to the amplifier, and this is available as a customer add-on option. And the great thing about these is these are shipping now, and in a market like this with very little amplifiers from supply chain issues, this was a really popular product at InfoComm this year. Next up is Dante speakers. So we introduced the first of a networked Dante PoE speaker family. We introduced a tile speaker, a pendant speaker, and a horn. A ceiling speaker is a 2x2 ceiling speaker. We have an 8-inch pendant and a 60x40 high output horn. These can be either powered by PoE or PoE+. And at the heart of them is an intelligent Dante amplifier card with built-in DSP. So that allows you to go in and control things like level and EQ. They even have sound masking features built into the pendant and the ceiling tile. There's also a second output, so you can connect another passive speaker. So you can use one Dante speaker as an endpoint to power that speaker and power an adjacent speaker. They're going to be controlled by our AtlasIED Discover app. So it's a application we have that allows you to scan a network, see all the AtlasIED network products on there. You'll be able to double click on it, go in and change all these settings. So this is really just the beginning of this new family. Look out for new form factors and new sizes as we expand this line. And these speakers are almost ready. They will be ready later this fall. I'll pass it over to Dan Murphy for the rest.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to join us. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about some new speakers we released. Back in 2018, we released the SHS-62. This is a 4-inch in-ceiling speaker, strategically hidden, and it looks just like a sprinkler head from down below on the ceiling area. Well, last year at our very limited InfoComm show, we released a smaller version of that called the SHS-3T2. This unit looks exactly the same from the bottom as the 62 did. It's very quick and easy to install. It's a much smaller form factor. Basically drill a 2 3/4 inch hole in the ceiling tile, set the speaker on top, tighten up the diffuser, connect your wires, and it's done. It's very fast and easy to install. It does have a 2 1/4 inch full range driver. Sensitivity is about 81 dB, and it has 70 volt taps from a 0.5 watt to 4 watts. If in use with our Z series high definition acoustical system, these SHS3T2s can be wired with category cable. They have an input and an output 45 on them. So it's super simple and easy to install them. Very fast and efficient. This year, we've introduced the 3T2 HD. It's the same basic specs as the SHS 3T2, except for it is designed to blind mount into a drywall ceiling. So you just drill the hole in the existing drywall ceiling, you kind of spin the speaker up in there, and then there's a collar that you tighten up with a set screw that clamps it into the ceiling tile. So it allows us to do versatile both hard tile or hard ceilings and drop tile ceilings at the same time with those. To round out the family, last year we also introduced the SHS-LF. Now this is a low frequency driver, subwoofer, that you can add to any of the SHS systems, which will give you that full range, low frequency response. Just to go back a little bit, the SHS 3T2 has been available for a long time now. The 3T2 HD is in limited quantities right now, and the LF also is available in some limited quantities right now. I also like to introduce a new horn speaker. It's called the IP-APX. This is very similar to the horn speaker that Tom talked about that has the Dante card in it. This particular model has our IP intelligent amplifier card in it that can register with a phone system via SIP. We can also register with our GlobalComm emergency notification system, as well as single wires announcement system. This is the same basic functionality as our existing APX, but it's in a surface mount, high efficiency horn speaker. So that's our new horn speaker. And to round out today on our new product release is a new paging console. This is a SIP-based paging console. It's called the IP Console-GH. It has a handset on it for making private announcements. It has a microphone on it for just making general announcements. It is a touchscreen controlled. It's got 112 automotive programmable buttons on it, so you can just do single button presses to trigger an announcement. You can do two-way intercom and monitoring on it as well from the IPX speakers, and it's also PBX compatible, so register with like Cisco's Call Manager, Asterix, BroadSoft, any of those, Avaya, those types of systems. That will be available sometime in fourth quarter.
Oh, it's fantastic. We had a lot of great stuff. So let's just talk for a second about some of the new product and just some of the applications and why some of these things matter. So Tom, let's start with Atmosphere, if you don't mind. Let's talk about third-party control. You made a comment about how that's been a really big deal. Can you share a little bit about why so many dealers and resellers have been pretty passionate about being able to add that third-party control?
Yeah, dealers and integrators are usually pretty passionate about when they're using lots of different equipment from different manufacturers, they want their end user to have the best experience possible. And one way to do that is to have a unified control system. And a lot of integrators have their preferred control system because it takes a while to get up to speed to program it. They build relationships and have good support. So each integrator may use or prefer a different type of control system. So opening up the ability, just opening up our API, having our API documentation, having all the tools built into the interface itself to extract these messages that you want allows any control system or third-party device, if enabled and set up, to send Atmosphere and receive commands from Atmosphere. This allows them to have a kind of a single pane of glass or a single controller for their end user, and they support it that way. So opening that up allows any system to work with us. Having specific drivers for other specific control systems makes it even easier. So we launched with a few of them, as I mentioned, but since then we've had a lot of companies reaching out to us saying our mutual customers are telling us we need to get a driver for your system in there. And that's what a lot of conversations at InfoComm for me were about, were some of these other companies, just finding it mutually beneficial to write drivers to help their customers out, which happen to be Atmosphere customers. So again, it really helps with more complex systems that have a lot of different manufacturers, different types of products, or want to integrate HVAC and other items. a control system is typically the best way to do it, whereas we provide really good control for our system of the audio domain. Integrating with some of these third party gives these integrators more flexibility in how they give their end product to their customer.
Yeah, that's great. And, obviously I spent 17 years on the control side in the industry, and you're right, there's a lot of passion behind particular brands, and we've seen some of our resellers say, hey, look, I've got a whole series of bars or restaurants, and we have to keep the control really easy because they're pretty sophisticated environments. But we want to use Atmosphere, but we can't do it until we've got that third party control. And so, because we got to get it up on that touch panel. And I know we engaged Control Concepts to work with us through some of that process, and Stephen Greenblatt and his team.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people in the industry know Steve and his team. Really a phenomenal group of folks. They know control really well. So,
Yeah.
and then I think it's a real compliment to the success that we've had with Atmosphere. That product is just, oh my gosh, it's taken off and been so dynamic. But it really speaks to the demand when they're going to, dealers are going to their control options and saying, hey guys, you really got to have a control interface for this because we're going to use this product, but we want to use it with you. So kudos to you and your team. I know there's a lot more coming with Atmosphere down the road, but that's a huge step. And then I'm a massive fan of having the training videos right there, YouTube style, 3.5 minutes. Help a technician solve a problem right there. I think that's really outstanding. So speaking of control, Dan, similar experience with IPX now, right? So we've been selling IPX, this particular version of IP Endpoints for about 3.5 years now. I think we just released it right when I started, and obviously third generation of IP Endpoints been around since about 2005. But we've been selling them, and most people were really controlling them with like a Cisco phone or some type of interface. I think this new UI mic station is going to be really powerful. What's your thought, and what kind of things did you hear, or kind of feedback did you hear back from resellers?
Yeah, I agree very much so. One of the benefits about it that I forgot to mention earlier was the fact that it has the ability to send messages directly to our IPX endpoints.
Yeah.
So in the event that the phone system goes down or the controller goes down or whatever, we can still communicate. As long as the network's up, we can still communicate with our devices. So it gives us some redundancy in there as well. Having that GUI interface obviously makes it much easier, just like we were talking about with single pane control systems. We can do a lot of different things with that, with those control buttons, send emergency announcements, lockdowns, whatever kind of thing that the environment requires. Very quick and very easy. Which is also very important in emergency situations to be able to get that message out fast.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we have slots for 100 additional extensions. It can be Mrs. Jones' room or Mr. Thomas's room or whatever, right? Is it about 100 or so?
It's 112.
Something like that.
There's 112 programmable keys. So it's very versatile in that respect, where it could be lockdown messages and it could just be a direct dial to Mrs. Jones' classroom or whatever for a two-way intercom information. Yes.
Yeah, awesome. And the extension of the horn, I think is, we've obviously done that through a gateway for a long time, through an analog to IP gateway or IP to analog gateway. I go backwards all the time, sorry. But that extension, I think, is it's really powerful because we've got a lot of places that want to do that single drop out to the building, whether that's outside the building to the parking lot to wherever, to make sure they get coverage. And I think we used one of our established horns as the base of that, which already had a great reputation and was really, really clear.
Absolutely. The APX 40TN speaker is what we based that off of. This unit has been around for probably 15 or 20 years. It's very well proven. It's a very intelligible speaker with constant directivity. And I think it's going to be very useful. One of the applications that I really thought about too much until I talked to some guys at the show was in security applications. So you've got a camera up on a pole someplace, it's detecting somebody's there. It sure would be nice to have a speaker sitting right there to make that announcement to warn the people that they're in the wrong spot or get out or whatever the situation may be.
Absolutely.
To be able to communicate with the event that's happening on the camera. So I think that's going to be a really good use case for that product as well as the standard stuff that we do now with playgrounds and baseball fields and basketball. You could use them in basketball courts, but mostly outside stuff.
You could put it in stadium.
Yeah, exactly. Agreed. So, yep.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think when we do our standard emergency notification, the one of the key messages is if you're visiting campus, please return to your car and leave immediately. And so we want to have that really clear. So I think that that's a huge development. Last thing I want to talk about is SHS and the new HD and the subs. I was so cool watching people get to hear that and go, wait a minute, I can do sound masking with this, and I can do background audio with this, and it all sounds good. Because so often for an end customer or for a reseller, it's a choice. You got to pick one or the other. Do you want to have background music, or do you want to have sound masking? And for people that may not be familiar with SHS, they may not realize the combination of these different form factors, different sizes, really creates a pretty unique blend. What kind of things did y'all hear from customers in regards to that?
I got a lot of ahs from people when they heard them because they
Yeah,
all look the same, right? They all look like a sprinkler
right.
head sticking out of the ceiling, but they're much different form factors when you look behind the ceiling. So there was a lot of that aha moments kind of thing, and like, wow, I can't believe it sounds that good. But yeah, there was a lot of use cases where you're right. People have to make the choice between masking or background music. And we can do that as well as paging. So we can do all three out of a single device, and it sounds good. If you
Yeah.
want that full program music, you might want to add a subwoofer to a few of them, a few subs in there. But for the most part, it sounds very good and very versatile.
Yeah, I recently we donated some of those to one of the resellers in the Dallas area here where I live, and they just had a grand opening of their facility. And I went in, and when I introduced myself, the receptionist said, they're playing music through it today because we're doing this reception, and they sound great. And I'm asking them, why aren't you playing music all the time, right? Why do we just have, like, this is great. And so it's always cool to see the product in the wild, right?
Absolutely.
And we got to hear that a lot. I know the really cool part of getting everybody together is a lot of times as a manufacturer, and maybe resellers don't always realize this, we don't always know where the product gets installed. I mean, we certainly know about a lot of projects, but we find out about some pretty cool places where, like, oh yeah, Atmosphere is driving, so and so's place on Broadway in Nashville, and you're like, oh man, that is so cool, and hotel chains and all kinds of stuff. So I think both of you and the teams are just doing a phenomenal job as a sales organization. I can't tell you how much we appreciate you. I also know, and I know both, I've been warned, there's always someone near at site to shut me down if I start to say anything about the future roadmap, but there's some great stuff coming. And I think InfoComm in Orlando is going to be extremely exciting next year. And InfoComm 2 years from now in Vegas is going to be really exciting as well. And so for those people who maybe aren't paying as much of attention to AtlasIED as we think you should, I encourage you to, because there is nothing but greatness coming in the future with some great products, some really, really smart folks, and really a different attitude. And I hope all of you will that are watching today will choose to be a part of it and choose to be part of the AtlasIED family, because we're building something pretty special over here, and we want you to be part of it. So on the broadcast, there should be links. So all of you should be able to get to hyperlinks on these products, cut sheets and data sheets on the new stuff that Tom and Dan have talked about. If you want to learn more about them there, you can get that information. If you want to go to the website, www.atlasied.com. Also on the website, on the Contact Us page, is a map with all of the reps and the RSMs. And if you have any questions about any of the product that we've discussed or anything that's on the website and you want to learn more about it, feel free to reach out to the team. We can get online demos sent out or set up. We can send out gear to you if we need to. If we need to come see you, we're glad to go do that. We're excited to be back to doing business. We've stayed really active over the last couple of years, but it's great to get more and more people out there. And we look forward to having you at the next big show. So we'll be out on the road. Keep an eye on our events page on the website if you want to see what regional or national shows we're at. They're all listed. Our newsletters, our links are there as well. So we have tons of ways. And don't forget socials, of course. We're on Twitter and LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram. So we're all there. So look for AtlasIED, and we will be looking for you. So Dan, Tom, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. I know the audience does as well. And feel free to submit any questions you all have. We'll be glad to answer them and get back to you. And we hope you have a great day. We'll see you out there on the road soon. Take care. Thanks so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.